Welcome to Our Community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We're visiting with Heather Scott and Corey Forica, both from A21. Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, A21, what does that mean? Where did that name come from?
A21 actually started from Christine Kane, who saw that there was a need of human trafficking and, how can we stop this? So A21 stands for Abolishing Human Trafficking in the 21st Century.
So nothing less than abolishing this should be everyone's goal.
Right.
But I think people don't realize the widespread prominence of the problem.
Exactly.
Help us understand. How is this going on in the 21st century?
We are actually, Ohio is the top 4 state for human trafficking.
Say that again.
We are the top 4 state for human trafficking. We rank in the top 4.
In the top 4.
Yes.
In our nation, yeah.
Why Ohio?
I think it's because of just all the highways. We are like right in the middle between coast to coast, so a lot of people are traveling in between, but also, gosh, I don't know. I think it's just the Hall of Fame also that brings in a lot of demand and just the amount of hotels that we have too.
So all these things that we talk about that are so wonderful. I mean, we are so blessed to have the
Right,
Hall of Fame
exactly.
here and
Yes.
all of the great tourism
Yeah.
that's getting more and more and building our economy and putting little Canton, Ohio on the map.
Yeah,
There's there's a dark side to this
Yeah.
as well, isn't there?
Yes.
I think that was when we started looking into doing the walk. You hear about human trafficking that's happening in third world countries. And
Yeah,
that's
I think
where our-
Asia.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
our mindset where it's like this stuff is happening. And then we really started digging into it. We met with a detective here locally and we found out, man, this is happening in our neighborhoods,
Yeah.
in our backyards. And, this stuff is crazy around here. And so that's where like we have
Yeah.
to do this walk to raise awareness so that people can, a lot of it happens right in front of our eyes. And so if we train people what to look for
Yeah.
and what to be aware of, we can put a stop to it.
Yeah.
So what should we look for and what should we be aware of?
I think the biggest thing is like they train you to look for, girls that look like they're not allowed to look
Yeah.
at the person. They're looking down. They look battered. They look worn out. They're usually with someone that's well dressed or
Yeah.
a little bit more demanding and kind of like controlling of the person. You can see it when they're going into hotels, maybe in a taxi, waiting on the side of the road in a bus. So there's things that, you can just look for, like a demeanor of a person, of like, it's just something just doesn't seem right. And if it doesn't seem right, just call about it. And that's what the detective told us. Just call. We'll handle it from
Yeah.
there.
So, and who do we call? 911?
Right. Do we have the number for it?
Or is there an actual traffic hotline?
There is a hotline.
And if we've got a phone number that we could give, that would be great.
1-888-373-7888.
Okay, and I stepped all over you. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Let's
You're
hear
good.
that one more time, please.
It's 1-888-373-7888.
Okay.
Or you can al-
1-888-373-7888.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can also text HELP to 233-733.
233-733. Text that number and just write help.
Yes.
Now, it would be embarrassing to report something that turned out not to be trafficking.
Right.
Should we let that deter us from doing it?
No.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. We actually have a story of a woman that's walking with us who was just dropping her daughter off at Tinseltown, and there was a semi parked behind the building.
Yeah.
And she was just aware, and this young girl gets up in the semi truck, and so she called and was like, hey, I'm just suspicious. There's a young girl getting into a semi truck, and she called, and the police took care of it, and she followed up with it, and it was human trafficking.
Oh,
that was
my
going on
gosh.
right here in
Yeah,
Canton,
right here in the strip.
Now, that doesn't sound like someone was being dragged out of their will.
Right.
She was walking into a semi-truck?
Right, yes.
A lot of people don't understand that they're being trafficked. That they just think it's normal, that they just get
Sold?
roped into it. Sold, or that like their family or like maybe a boyfriend, like they kind of almost trick them into this.
Okay, now I have to back up. You're saying that family members sell family members
Yes.
into trafficking?
Yes.
In America, that's the number
Yeah.
one way of getting that trafficking is happening, is family members selling
Yes.
family members for trafficking.
Help me understand this. How, why?
Exactly. And that's, I think with a lot of what we're hearing is like it has a lot to do. We know there's a heroin
Yes.
epidemic around
Yes.
here, and so that is part and part by it.
Yeah.
You know, they need finances, they need a way to be able to get a hold of these drugs,
Yeah.
and they can use trafficking as a form of
Yeah.
payment for that.
Yes.
A lot of the things, even jumping ahead to what Corey was saying, you know, with boyfriends or. Hang on, let me gather my thoughts.
But boyfriends, because you would think that that goes completely counterintuitive
Right.
for someone who cares about you. Well, obviously family members as well, but a boyfriend, you have a dating relationship. Why would he be eager for a girlfriend to be, for lack of better terms, servicing other
Exactly.
boys? How is that possible?
It's manipulative.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's, you know, like when they're on the girl side or boy, because it's
Either
equal
way.
parts.
Yeah.
You know, they're thinking, oh, this is a relationship, but the person is in there for, you know, not for a relationship, but to manipulate this person into believing that this is what you need to do.
Well, let's do a couple of things here this morning. Let's first of all talk to young people to tell them what to be aware of. If a person has, for God forbid, a family member or boyfriend that is doing this to them, what do they do? How does a person escape from this?
No, that's a good question. Let me go back to what we were told by the detective, because
Yes.
it is manipulative. We don't have a lot of resources for when these people get help. We have Rahab facility, which we support.
Yeah.
Women, when they are found, they go into this rehab facility where they get restored and, you know, back to where they feel like they have a trait now that they can go back and get a job. Not feel like they have to get back into that. But for boys, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times they just get put in a detention home. So they're not, once they get back in the system, they get back into this, they're not going to go and reach out to, you know, the forces and say, hey, like, I need help for this, because they know it's like this. So what we're trying to do is, like, what can we do to raise funds to help Rahab to
Yeah.
build a facility for boys and
Yeah.
to be able to get, you know what I mean? So there's kind of like this cycle that's
Yes.
like, how do we help them when they do come in? Obviously, the first thing would be let the authorities know about
Yeah.
it. 1% of traffickers get prosecuted,
Yeah.
and only 1% of people that are trafficked ever get rescued.
Well, and it seems to me that people who are being trafficked then are often treated as if they are the criminal because they're the one that's so obvious in the crime
Yeah.
taking
Exactly.
place.
Yeah.
But criminals certainly would be the person purchasing
Right.
that service, and certainly the person who is selling that service, the person overseeing, whoever the family member or boyfriend or whoever is the person conducting that business.
Yeah.
The person being trafficked is nothing more than a product.
Right.
Yes.
And yet they seem to be the criminal. So
Exactly.
they probably would be least likely to report this happening knowing
Right.
that they're the ones going to be
Yeah.
tossed in
Absolutely.
jail.
Yeah, you're prosecuting or being a prostitute. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And so
Yes.
it's looked upon like, oh, throw them in jail. And it's
Yes.
like, well, they're not keeping their money. It's going to this person that's
Yeah.
trafficking them. You know, a lot of times they will manipulate it, put them in a situation where they get beat up, whatever, and then this rescuer comes in and saves them, gives them a house, food. Hey, this isn't free. You know what I mean? So then they feel like, well, this person's helping me. What do I got to do to be able to stay here? So
Yeah.
it is very, very manipulative
Yeah.
in the way that they do this. And so then these girls just kind of get in this rhythm of doing this, is like, this is my life. This is what I have to do. So it's not, you know, in third world countries, they're going in there and kidnapping these children and forcing them to do it. Here, they go in there and they make it seem like it was my choice.
Right.
I
It's a
decided to
mind
do this.
game.
It is
Yes,
a mind
it
game.
is.
So, and then a lot of the girls we see at Rahab, we start describing, when I say we, the women there, start describing like what trafficking is. And they're like, oh yeah, that's what I do. That's
Yeah.
a problem? You know what I mean? They don't even know that they've been
Right.
trafficked. So
How
it's
young of
their
a
work.
person are we talking about here?
13.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said 13 is
Yes.
the youngest. That it seems like that's the primary age that they're going for.
Yeah.
Many parents of a young preteen girl are very on the lookout.
Right.
Where there's no way they would let them walk the mall by
Right.
themselves. It's always go in twos or threes, go in
Yeah.
groups. But you said boys. I don't think parents of boys, I don't think this is on their minds at all.
No.
How do we watch out for that? Same kinds of characteristics if a boy is being trafficked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
And as parents, we can, good parents are going to take those precautions. A lot of what people are looking for, those insecure kids,
Yes.
kids that have been through foster care, kids that have just been, abused kids. Those are the primary target that you see, because they're the ones that they know don't have that,
Yeah.
the people watching over them, or a strong foundation.
Yeah.
So they are trafficked right here. They're not necessarily, think of the movies, put on a boat somewhere and set
Right.
somewhere in a
Right.
shipping crate, never to be seen again
Yeah.
here. But they are actually being trafficked here locally, and then they go home at night?
Well, some of them do. A lot of them, what they do is they'll send them to Akron, a whole group of them to
Yeah.
Akron. And, this isn't just sex slavery, it's also
Labor trafficking.
Labor trafficking,
And
which
so-
I'm thinking of the boys as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And they'll get disoriented. They don't know their area. They don't know where they're at. So
Right.
they kind of feel hopeless. And then
Yeah.
once they are there for a little bit, then they'll ship them over somewhere else, just so it's not like they're very far.
Yeah.
They can be, within the Tri-County, but just somewhere that they feel disoriented.
Yes.
I
and
just
it's moved around.
can't even imagine the nightmare that these children's reality is.
Absolutely.
And then I wouldn't expect that the lifespan is very long. How long does a person live when they're in this lifestyle?
It's not. We've heard several different stats, and just depending on the
Yeah.
type of trafficking, but 24 hours is, could be a typical time span for it. They don't get fed, they don't get water, they don't get. It's just, and that might be an extreme case.
Yeah.
But they say, we've looked into like training as far as like if someone's kidnapping you or something, they would say like you need to struggle as much as you can to get
Yes,
away.
yeah.
'Cause
right.
after that, you're going to lose energy, and it's then you get drugged, and a lot of them just keep getting drugged and drugged
Yeah.
and drugged and drugged until it's inevitable. So
Yeah.
Well, it's just completely unacceptable. It's
Absolutely.
unbelievable that it's happening in our day and age.
Yes.
And as you say, sometimes right in front of us and we
Yeah.
don't recognize it.
Yes.
So, to recap, we want to be on the lookout for something that just doesn't seem right. And I
Yes.
think as long as it's on our radar, if we're not thinking about something like this,
Right.
then you don't know what to look for. But sometimes something just doesn't seem right. And then we go ahead, and I'm going to give you this number again, 888-373-7888. I'm getting that correct?
Yes.
Write that down. Have that with you.
Yes.
Plug it into your phone. And then have that ready to go if you see something that just does not look right. Also, you can text HELP to 233-733.
Yes.
233-733 and just help.
Yes.
And somebody in authority will take it from there.
Yes.
Do you need to tell where you are, what you're seeing? What all do you need to be able to say to someone?
I think it's becoming absolutely aware in the forces of that this is happening.
Yeah.
Do you have the number of how many calls just last year?
Yes, I do.
We have a stat for
Last year in Ohio, there were 1,352 calls to the national hotline that we gave.
In
And-
Ohio?
Yes, in Ohio. And then out of those, 375 cases were reported that were followed up with.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
All right, we do have we have organizations like
Yes,
Rahab
yes.
and A21.
Yes.
And now A21 is a national organization.
Yes.
You work in conjunction with some of the more local ones?
They
Or
don't
what do you
have-
do?
We are more of an awareness team.
Okay.
They have an office in California and North Carolina, so they aren't super close. But we would work more with like Rahab or PATS or just the local law enforcement as well.
Well, thank the Lord for what you're doing, and
Yeah.
thank you for both doing it. We're going to be talking a lot more with Heather Scott, Corey Foraker. We're talking about A21 and an event coming up that you're going to want to participate. Stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.